ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦਿਸ ਐਪੀਸੋਡ ਆਫ ਦਾ ਹਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਸ਼ੋ। ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਜਗੇਸ਼ਰ ਦਾਸ ਨਾਲ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਹਿਮਾਨ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਦੱਸਣਗੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਕਿ ਗਲੋਬਲ ਕਲਰਜੀ ਐਸੋਸੀਏਸ਼ਨ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਇੰਟਰਫੇਥ ਕਾਨਫਰੰਸ ਦਾ ਆਯੋਜਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਕੁਝ ਹੋਣ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, ਆਓ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਜਗੇਸ਼ਰ ਦਾਸ ਤੋਂ। ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ।
Thank you.
Thank you. Global Clergy Association is organizing a program on the 4th of February.
Yes.
So can you tell us what is this Global Clergy Association and what is its constitution?
Well, it's an association of religious leaders
Right.
in the lower mainland here because there are many kinds of interfaith groups going around, but there are none of clergy.
Right.
So we thought many years ago that perhaps it will be good to have clergy people, religious leaders of different religions,
Right.
to get together, to share common concerns and to plan for different events and so on. So it's a self-supporting sort of group
Right.
from the clergy.
Okay.
So that's what we have been
How
doing.
long this has been operating and what all has been done
Perhaps,
so
I would say just over 20 years.
far? Okay.
At first it started as Multi-Faith Leaders Fellowship,
Right.
and then it graduated into Global Clergy Association.
Right. Dr. Das, when we talk about clergy as such, the connotation, don't you think the connotation goes a little different? Today, the youngsters are a bit more open, more spiritual. When we confine it to kind of clergy, so don't you think it sends a different kind of message?
It can, unless you think of the focus.
Right.
There are many kinds of interfaith groups anyway that we know that they're holding different programs all over the place.
Right.
The global clergy was essentially for the religious leaders to get together and see what is best, how to work together
Right.
as a group. And so they're a self-supporting group
Right.
to understand the clergy level.
Okay.
So we do have non-clergy member also.
Right.
There's associate members.
Okay. Generally, what we are finding out is that despite the fact that every religion teaches us about peace, about harmony, but the way the world is operating today is absolutely different. Dr. Das, with your vast experience, what do you feel? What should be done and what can be done to really spread this message of peace? Of course, it's a great initiative to have a conference, but how to carry on that conference mindset further on into daily lives?
Well, you know, this has been a perennial problem. How do you translate it to the
Right.
average person? As you say, the youth, the younger people, they're more interested in social activities and so on.
Right.
So this idea of peace is all over the world anyway. This conference is going on.
Right.
It is to refocus. Okay, there's a need for peace. United Nations has recognized this. And so the United Nations has designated the first week of February every year
Right.
to work towards peace. This was first proposed by King Abdullah of Jordan
Okay.
in 2010.
Right.
And it was proposed to United Nations, and then they have accepted it and made it a policy now that every year all over the world people will be celebrating the first week of February
Right.
as International Harmony Week.
Okay.
And so this is how it's coming along. And hopefully that as these things are going on all over the world, other people will get to know about them because we do involve the public.
Right.
They're all invited. And so hopefully it will register in their brain somehow.
Right.
And
Well, it's a great initiative to talk about peace, and especially when United Nations declares one week as Harmony Week,
Yes.
and that spreads a right kind of message which should percolate down to the people.
Yeah.
So now on 4th of February, you are having this interfaith conference. Tell us a little bit about it. Where is it being held, and what all is going to happen over there?
okay, it will be held at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints
Okay.
at on 140th Street, 10122.
Okay.
140th Street in Surrey. I have a flyer here, if I could show it.
Sure.
That's the flyer.
Right.
And it is to show that someone is speaking.
Right.
Is it getting through to the other person?
Right.
So the topic of this conference is how can interfaith communication enhance harmony.
Right.
So the idea is then we want to communicate between one religion and another. And we know there has been, gaps or let's say separations.
Right.
And we know now that the world is getting more, smaller in terms of togetherness, communication, and so on. So we are hoping that this conference will focus on communication.
Right.
What is it that one religion can say to another, at least at the higher levels where the policies are made?
Right.
So how can they communicate so that it develops greater understanding and harmony?
Right. So what time does it start, and can common people also be there and listen to what is being said?
Oh, yes. It starts at 1 p.m.
Right.
and goes to 4 p.m. There will be speakers from different religions.
Right.
There will be an interlude of perhaps tabla music or something. And then there will be a breakout sessions, small group sessions.
Okay.
And after that, there will be a plenary session where everybody get together again.
Right.
And so we're hoping that it will be very informative.
Right.
And the public is invited. And if we can somehow make the address known to the public,
Right.
they're all invited. It's an open public thing.
Absolutely. So in these kind of conferences of which you have been a part for a long period, what do you think, what comes out of it? What has been the gist in the previous years of the conferences what you have had? When you learn about somebody's else religion, their culture, you are more informed, you are more aware. So how does this lead to harmony?
What has been happening is that we have held conferences and we've had write-ups about it in newspapers and different media. And then the message goes to the public that way.
Right.
I think if it doesn't translate into action, it is not because we're not doing it.
Right.
It's perhaps people may not show that much interest at
Right.
times. And sometimes it takes repetition
Right.
of doing these things over and over
Absolutely.
until people get the message.
Well, of course, the initiative which has been taken needs to be taken. It's not that, these kind of conferences are just for some of the people over there. They learn something, they go out, they talk, and then definitely it takes time to percolate down to the common masses also.
Yeah, well, I think that is the hope,
Absolutely.
It should percolate down
Right.
to the others.
Towards then, what would you like to say, especially for this conference?
I would like to say that we are living in a world now where religious barriers should be broken down.
Right.
We're all the same humanity. And we, all religious people, believe there is a supreme being, God, whatever, and that we should all work in harmony. All the religions have taught brotherly love and to love one another
Right.
and to have compassion for one another. But we have to bring this into our life.
Absolutely.
And so this conference then is aimed at bringing out the proper way to communicate,
Right.
the topics of communication,
Right.
and how can this communication percolate down to the public. So this is essentially what we'll be doing.
That's great. It was a pleasure talking to you, and thank you for providing this information to our viewers. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
ਡਾਕਟਰ ਜਗੇਸ਼ਰ ਦਾਸ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ 10122 148th ਸਟਰੀਟ ਤੇ ਜੋ ਚਰਚ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 4 ਫਰਵਰੀ ਨੂੰ 1 ਵਜੇ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦਾ ਆਯੋਜਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਆਪ ਸਭ ਨੂੰ ਖੁੱਲ੍ਹਾ ਸੱਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਧਰਮਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਪੀਚਸ ਸੁਣੋ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਉਹ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਫੋਕਸ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕਮਿਊਨੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਹਾਰਮਨੀ ਬਣ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ। ਕੀ ਇਸ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਰੀ ਸੋਲੂਸ਼ਨ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗੀ? ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਨਹੀਂ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਚੰਗਾ ਕਦਮ ਜੇਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਜਾਏ ਉਸ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰਸ਼ੰਸਾ ਕਰਨੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ, ਉਸ ਦਾ ਹਿੱਸਾ ਬਣਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜੇਕਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਚੇਂਜ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਟੈਪਸ ਲਏ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਸ ਨਾਲ ਪਰਿਵਰਤਨ ਅਤੇ ਚੇਂਜ ਆ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਯੂਨਾਈਟਿਡ ਨੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਫਰਵਰੀ ਦਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਹਫਤਾ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਇੰਟਰਫੇਥ ਹਾਰਮਨੀ ਵੀਕ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਦਰਜਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ, ਇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਂਝ ਵਧਾਉਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇਹ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਦਾ ਹਿੱਸਾ ਬਣ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਫ੍ਰੀ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਹੈ, 1 ਵਜੇ ਔਨਵਰਡਸ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੋਏਗਾ 10122 148th ਸਟਰੀਟ ਤੇ ਜੋ ਉੱਥੇ ਚਰਚ ਹੈ।